up? It's Grace, and right now I'm going to be discussing some of the things that I do when I go to a bookstore. I was in my car driving, thinking about video ideas while I was driving to the bookstore, and I was like, I think I have one. I'm sure we can all relate as book lovers with these things, and if you don't read books, what the heck are you doing? Grace with a book in her face. What are you? What? Anyways, let's get started. And my hair is this way because I haven't brushed it in, well, I haven't technically brushed it in 13 years, but it's just really messy right now. And I was like, why not? So the first thing I'm going to talk about that I do, well, pretty much every time I go to the bookstore is I lurk. Is that the right word? I guess it is. I lurk at people and what they're doing in the aisles that I'm in. If I see them and they're looking at books, I'm just like, staring at them awkwardly until they pick up a book, and you know, if they'll look at me, I'm just like, I'm one of you. Like, I just want them to know that we have a connection even though we don't really. And if they pick up a book that I'm like, oh my god, wow, you need to get that book, then I will say something. Like, there was this one time this girl and her dad were in line in front of me and she got Cinder, and then she went to go pick up Red Queen, and I was like, no, 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 no. Don't pick up Red Queen. I mean, unless you are into that, but I don't like it, and I don't think you should get that. There's a bunch of other good books, or Red Queen's like, you know, it's a okay book, but there's a bunch of other great books. And I probably sounded super, I don't know, presumptuous or something like that when I was like, don't get that book, it's horrible. But anyway, I always do that, just lurk and stare at people. The second thing that I do at bookstores is I try and make friends. This kind of goes with the first thing, like I try and talk to people about books. But there was this one time I had like this almost hour-long discussion with this one dude. Forget his name. That's me making friends, my skills. But I talked to him for a while and talked about books. I talked about the Mistborn trilogy and stuff. And I even gave him my BookTube channel name, which I never do that. And I'm never like, hey, I have a BookTube channel, it's this. But I did, and he watches some videos, so I think that's really cool. But yeah, I try and make friends and at bookstores because I feel like, you know, like, hey, how'd you guys become friends? We were at a bookstore, and I think that would just be a good story. This goes along with the workers at bookstores. Shout out to Rebecca, my favorite cashier at Barnes & Noble. She's so awesome, and I always just talk about books with her, and she's just a really awesome lady. Another thing that I tend to do at bookstores is sit in the aisles and read as much as I feel like reading at that time and seeing if I like want to buy that book. I guess that, I mean, we all do that. I'm pretty sure that's like a universal thing. But, you know, it's kind of awkward sometimes when you're like sitting in the aisle, not in the middle, I'm like by the shelf. Anyway, I'm not in anybody's way unless they're like wanting to look. Anyway, I'm there for a little bit and I just read, and people are coming, they're like, hey, are you comfortable? I'm like, I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable. Another thing that I do when I go to bookstores is usually when I do go to a bookstore, I go for a specific book. Like, I know what I'm getting, but there's sometimes when I'm just like randomly like, hey, I want to be surrounded by books at this moment right now. So I go to the bookstore and I usually tend to explore more of the areas of the bookstore. And one time in particular, I was with my friend and we just happened to wander into like this sex educational aisle. Not like erotica or anything, but this was like legit like, whoa, my necklaces got really low. Anyway, like legitimately educational sex about like the human body and how things work. Things I didn't know were possible. It was really weird, very interesting, but like also weird because it was, while I like reading it, it was very scholarly and straightforward, but the content was just weird to be scholarly and straightforward. But, you know, I learned a lot of cool, weird things about bodies, so yeah. Dude, my necklace just broke. I've been just sitting here and somehow it broke, but it would happen to me. That would happen. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about that usually just always happens when I'm at a bookstore. I don't know why, but I always hear, because my bookstore is connected to the mall, so people have to like go through that to go to the mall. And the YA section, usually the one that I'm always in, is right by the entrance to the mall. So almost all the time, I'm just, you know, browsing the shelves and I hear, I don't know, I just don't like to read, and I don't know, I can't ever finish a book. And I like pop out of the shelf, I'm like, hey, this is me, Grace, and you will finish a book if you're reading the right one. One time this group of guys passed and they were talking about how they wanted to watch the movie rather than read the book. And I was like, no, 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 you don't want to do that. And I was trying to tell them about the book, and they just like, were like, okay, haha, yeah. And I'm just like, you won't read it, but if you did, you wouldn't agree with what you just said previously. But yeah, I don't know why. I always hear that at my bookstore, and I'm like, no, we should read. So those are just some of the things that I just wanted to randomly discuss with you that I do at a bookstore. If you guys have any things that you do at bookstores, I would love to know, and if we have the same one, tell me, or just tell me weird stories about things that have happened in bookstores, because I love weird stories, or just stories in general, they're fun. But yes, finals are over, school is done, and I'm not taking any summer classes because I just need to chill for a little bit, so I'm very, very excited. There's gonna be lots of new videos coming your way. I'm super excited to film them. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.